are the one who increase the population. मैं confirm हो गया, so it's like an aged guy trying to read the comics. And I sense the thing saying that training department is finding challenges in getting the trainer to train. Sanjay क्या है वैसे वो you develop the software, capture the requirement. I started playing around with the people and their brain. Okay. My own subordinates. And then I realized कि यार उसमें भी यूरेका होता है.
Hi all, welcome to Neoskills. Today we are having a session with Mr. Sanjay. He is having deep industry experience. His experience is crossing 35 years. From his overall journey as a software developer, project manager, director, even as a trainer, we will try to make this session more interactive so that we as an audience can take away better learning from his experience. So let's start with this session. So hi sir, welcome. So we would like to just understand about you, like your first job, then how you started with your education, then how you moved to next level of the job. So that will be happy to all of us, so we can understand more about yourself.
Thanks, Kunal, and nice to see you. One of the problem about this new model of connecting with the people is that we do not get opportunity to meet each other very frequently. Yes. And now this had been a very brilliant opportunity to talk about it, and so that brings me the memories which are really sweet old memories. I come up with for a lot of you probably may not be those people who are watching this might be knowing something called as the generations. So there are generations and people are divided in that, and I represent the generation called as the baby boomer. The whole name was given because they are the one who increased the population a lot. That's why they were called as baby boomers. Very funny. But nevertheless, we did several more things as well. So 1964 was the when I born, and one of the major change which has happened, friends, and Kunal, tell you is that the start of the career, when at what age do you start the career, was too early those days. My elder brothers, the particular cousin brothers and all that team, they used to tell me saying that I started my career when I was 18-year-old. So people were started nowadays. At the age of 35, people want to do some more MS and whatnot. And so many things. Yeah. So there are a lot of changes which are coming up there. I wasn't an exception. I started my career in 1984 as a mechanical engineer. That's very funny. I'm sure you.
So 1984 you started working. 1984. That time even I was not there in the world. So
yes. Yeah. Yes, that's the thing. So 1984 is when I started. Unlike these days, things were difficult for a simple reason. There was something called as a training in which we paid some minimum sort of a stipend for you to survive. Then 2 years of a rigorous training. And then, there used to be something called as confirmation. I don't know. Maybe some of your elder brother and maybe your cousins, they would have said, they would have came sometime and given you the sweet saying that, Kunal, मैं confirm हो गया. That was a big news those days.
It was like a internship?
So internship, after internship gets ended, it was not your right that you will be employed by the company.
Okay. Prohibition period.
Lot of people will be actually asked, say that you are not up to the mark, so please.
Okay.
So if we think that days are bad nowadays, it's not the thing. Days were bad for ages together. The type of challenges have changed there.
Yeah.
So now coming back to my thing, it was 1984 when I started, 1986 when I actually got regular employment called as a confirmation. Those days, a big celebration.
Yeah. So it was in which city?
It was in the city of Nagpur, which is in Maharashtra. So I was in Nagpur that time.
Okay.
Then till 1990 I was part of the mechanical industry. I was working in the shop floor for Mahindra and Mahindra Limited.
Okay.
Now this is another strange exception which you will realize these days is that I started my career with Mahindra Group and I got retired from Mahindra Group.
Okay.
Very unlike to do. Nowadays, in fact, I would not say that that's a very big thing to be proud about, because even my daughters change the jobs every 3-4 years. So it's not. These changes are there. It's an inevitable thing. I don't think even organization would be very comfortable if they get this particular thing. But things were different. There was nothing. You can't compare. Past and future.
So you started with Mahindra and Mahindra, and then in the same group you shifted, because I heard like you moved to development, like when
Yes.
we got connected in a few days back, or like our journey is a long back. But I thought that you were into a development kind of profile also. So how this journey happened?
Yes, that's an interesting thing, Kunal. Again, reminds me of the brilliant, good old days of mine. When I started, as I told you, as a mechanical engineer, and those days there were no separate, specializations in engineering. There were only 3 branches of engineering.
Okay.
If you ask, your elder generation, they will tell you there were used to be only 3: civil, mechanical, and electrical. There was nothing new.
Right.
So those days, the people who switched into the IT were always an engineer from some other basic branch, one out of these 3.
Right.
So the same thing was with us as well.
Yeah.
We decided to go ahead and implement something called as an attendance system.
Okay.
I am not sure how many of you would have seen probably that, there used to be an attendance system, there used to be a physical watch, and you need to put a card like that and pull the lever.
Yeah.
If you watch old Charlie Chaplin movies like Modern Times and all that, you will find those type of clocks there. We're implementing the very first one.
Okay.
Now,
So at Mahindra and Mahindra.
Mahindra and Mahindra.
Okay.
So vendor actually came back and he started working, but he said that you will sooner or later come out of it. Someone need to go ahead and support it. So why don't you do that?
Yeah.
So we were always thinking somehow that was one of maybe call it as a gut feel, maybe whatever. But I always thought that this is going to be a world which will be coming up. So it was around 1988 when I started assisting along with them.
So at sorry to interrupt you. At 84, was there IT in India?
Now I think if I remember correctly, maybe a few years here and there, 1984 was when Infosys was founded. Infosys started.
Okay.
IBM was, obviously there. It's a decade or rather century back company, but in India, IT was actually knocking the door. Before that, there were computers, but they were being used only for the educational institutions for researching.
Okay.
And very few things here and there. But hardly, computers were not getting used. So it was sort of it was knocking the door. And I said that, let's, get into this. And that's where in 1986, 88 for that.
So my question is like at 86, like there was some IT group started at your organization and you entered into that, or how this journey was there?
Now that's an interesting thing. The people who were knowing the old days, there used to be something called as EDP. EDP was a very funny, thing there, called as electronic data processing. There used to be a separate department in the manufacturing company itself.
Okay.
And those people were doing all those jobs there.
Okay.
So we were part of the same company, Mahindra and Mahindra, employed by them.
Okay.
In fact, in the earlier part of my career, just to, tell you as a thing, those typical dress and all that thing, like the manufacturing guys here, we used to do that and didn't do the programming.
Okay.
And the things like COBOL and, Fox Pro. In fact, we were the people who went ahead and actually established the network when there is a downtime to the thing, attending some hardware related glitches. I mean, we were required to do everything. There was no specialization those days.
Okay.
If you want to actually compare Kunal to that, you would realize that, maybe if you ask your father in rural areas, in the semi-urban areas, you would realize there used to be a doctor, So if your, arm is broken, he was the doctor. If you are cough and cold, he is the doctor. There used to be only one doctor. He used to do everything for the thing.
Right.
IT guys were also like that, in that situation.
Okay.
And that's where nowadays, down the line we might come back. But this whole world called as a DevOps, which means, development people and operations people should work together, is a turn-around cycle which has come.
Okay.
Those days we were doing exactly same thing. We were doing the network, we were doing the email management,
Okay.
we were doing the development, requirement capture, testing.
It was kind of one-man army. Like
so you need to do everything. And nowadays, look at it. With DevOps, they are trying to actually come up saying that it is. Like
so
that.
in short, like what we observe, whatever new things we are keeping, so that is from the older learning, that we can say like that. Is it like that? Like at that your initial phase, there was one person who was doing all the things, right? And now companies also demanding the same. So we are going back to that like environment. Is it like
and
that?
nowadays, we are calling it as full stack engineer.
Full stack engineer.
Isn't it? Now,
Right.
full stack engineer has the word which actually is coming up.
Correct.
Well, not only in this thing, Kunal, but I would say if you look at it, whole of the cycle is like that, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you would have seen that joke. So in the earlier days, the poor people used to go onto the bicycle, and the rich were going into the car.
Correct.
And nowadays, richer people are going onto the bicycle,
Right.
and poor have now grown up to take the car.
Correct.
So cycle घुमा के वहीं पे आ ही रहा है. Same thing, they were sort of a versatile, I would say.
Yeah.
They were versatile, doing everything nowadays. It is the expectation there.
So I will be happy to understand. Like, see, you were a mechanical engineer. 6 years you work into mechanical domain. Then IT was in boom, right? And then you shifted to IT industry, like as a developer. So how you transitionalize yourself, right? Today learning is easy, but that time it may be a difficult one.
Correct.
So, like, was it a self motivation or environment forced you, or organization said like upskill into that? There was a job opportunity. What motivated you to move into IT like that?
That's an interesting, thing there. Obviously, there was an internal, motivation. I somehow sensed it at that time, And now you can think about it. In 1988, if someone thinks that this small gadget, which is, so complicated to operate, is going to rule whole of the world, I thought so at least. Why did I thought? I have no idea. But I thought that this is going to rule, so actually I started getting into that. So here, Kunal, I want to tell you one more thing, because a lot of people who are going to learn and watch this, maybe from the generation millennium, even Z generation and so on. So one of the things, what I did that time was, when there was no one to actually go ahead and do those things, I started doing those things on the computer. For example, in the quality department, we used to maintain some data. It was a simple thing. These days, even a young kid would know what is a spreadsheet. You can put the number, it will do the vertical addition, horizontal addition, and if you change the number, it will change automatically. Those days, there was something called as the Lotus 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
A lot of people would have not even seen that. Lotus 1, 2, 3 was there. So what I did, I actually, if I go ahead and tell my employer, saying that, from the shop floor, I want to go ahead and learn this, please let me go. They will say, कि यहाँ पे इतना काम है यार, कहाँ जा रहे हो? Where are you going? You can do.
Okay.
So what I did was a very simple thing. Beyond 5 p.m., I used to go into that computer center, make a friend with the guy who was maintaining it, and then maintain that data there. And then brought the printout. I don't know how many of you have seen something called as the dot matrix printer. Printing, getting the printout there was a job of patience.
Correct.
So I used to do that, and I showed it to the boss. And that time went ahead and showed. So then he saw it. He was very happy. He said, "See, Sanjay, this is all good, but can we bring percentage there? Did you realize I actually brought the organization into the trap in such a way that they told me to do what I want to do?" So I said, "Yes, sir. We'll try that."
Okay.
Next morning, I started doing with percentage. And that whole journey started. The reason for which I am telling is not to tell you that, how great thing I did. Friends, in these days, it's very common that, remember, people are not going to teach you something because something good need to happen. You need to actually align yourself in such a way that they will task you with what you believe you want to do. Now, this is the situation. Very often about, so many people, Kunal, we come across and meet about the career thing and all that.
Yeah.
People say that, how should I answer a particular question and all that. I always say that it is difficult in the interview to probably answer a question which interviewer has asked.
Right.
There are some chances you might know the answer, some chances no. But what would happen if interviewer asks you a question which you want him to ask?
Yeah.
Looks very funny, isn't it? It is nothing to do with, something called as you are not going to go ahead and, wo kya bolte hai, vashikaran and all that thing. It's not. You can actually drive the whole interview in such a way that he should ask you the question what you ask.
So it depends on your introduction, like how you introduce like a
introduction. Then you need to leave few questions there, like that. That in the college you were doing like this, and then there was something. So leave the lead in such a way that he will be jumping into that area. The moment he jumps into your area, वो तो मैच आपको खेलना है, आपका ग्राउंड.
So this is a technique you can crack any interview.
So coming back to my thing, that's how I learnt the whole thing, and then obviously then things started coming onto me.
Okay.
With time, they realized that this is a full-time job. This guy can't do it this as well as that. So obviously they moved me into the IT.
Right.
In 1995, Mahindra's implemented SAP system, and
Okay.
that whole process was completely participative. There was a team of around 40 people from different units of Mahindra and Mahindra. They came up together, and we actually went ahead and evaluated several softwares and all that thing. And then we went with deciding and implementing, and that was the day on which a company called as Mahindra Consulting, which later was called as Bristlecon. That company is still there. Bristlecon.
Okay.
It was formed, and all these people were transferred. Literally, they were transferred. They did not resign it as well.
Okay, transferred.
They were transferred to this company. This was our first interaction when we came into IT. So the person who was earlier my boss became my customer.
Okay.
The person who was my friend with whom I was still going for the lunch together now became my user.
Yes.
So it was and that transition was funny, interesting. These days I appreciate one thing, guys, if you are the people who are actually working into the IT industry and working with the customer, I can tell you one thing, is that we are fortunate. Our users and our customers were our friends.
Yeah.
He was my boss. He is the one who actually shifted me into the IT.
Correct.
So now if I make a mistake, he will probably shout, but he will not get upset with me. He will try to adjust me.
Because he know you
He knows me, and anyway, his interests are now there because my success, he will think. While these days it becomes slightly difficult.
Yeah.
Particularly
this day environment is like customer centric, right? We can't do mistakes, right? I think your friend was your customer or your boss was your customer, so he know there should be a scope to mistake. But nowadays, all people
becomes very difficult.
Yeah.
There are penalties. There are contractual problems.
Yeah. Everything is money oriented. We can say like that. We can't make our customer unhappy. The environment is like that. So when you were in IT, so how long you were doing your individual work? Because journey is a long back, right? You transition yourself as a project manager. You were a trainer also, right? So at 95 you started development work. So how much years you were into development, and then what kicks you to move into, I think, team lead or a senior level of role? How you transitioned that time? What was the manpower in company? And what motivated you to move on the next level? Was it like accidental or like how it happened?
That's an interesting question. Again, thanks again for reminding my old days. They were really golden days.
Okay.
So golden days says that, in our case it was slightly different. The way in which these roles of project managers are assumed these days versus they were, being done then, there had been some changes there. First thing is that ours was almost like an organic growth. What does it mean is that now there were 3 more people who were required to be recruited, and they were going to help with me.
Right.
The moment they joined later, I became the manager. I had no choice about anything.
Yeah.
I became the manager. There was no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Remember, friends, there were the days when, 30-40% CAGR was the rate at which IT companies were growing. So, if someone is good or average, the moment there are so many people joined into the company, obviously this guy by gravity itself was getting growing up. So project managers who were actually going up with that organic thing for in IT industry as well. Mera to uske pehle wala hai, because we were from to a core industry where there were people coming.
Right.
So that was the thing. One more thing which actually made.
So that thing you were lucky, you can say, like as a generation, what we should understand, like all of a sudden CAGR was increasing, headcount was increasing. So you got opportunity to lead, right? But what about us? Like we as a generation, if we need to match, your area was easy or current time is easy, or how we should correlate this situation? Because you are in training, sorry to ask question in middle, but yeah, people will always see we are having a discussion over here. So that time it was really easy to become a project manager. So was it easy or all of a sudden if you are saying आपको अगर power दे दिया गया है, you should be capable to manage that power. So I would like to have an answer on this. Like what is your opinion?
See, this particular thing, if you what you are saying is a second part of the thing. What typically guys or girls in the college actually these days say, आपके समय नौकरी मिलना बड़ा आसान था. That's what a very common sort of a thing. If you go to any, temple or maybe, the pensioners park and all that thing, they will always say, आजकल लड़कों को ना सब आसान हो गए. They get to see, everyone thinks that what the prior generation was doing or next is doing easy. Now remember, challenges have changed.
Yes.
Age or difficulty is not the question. It's the challenges have changed. Is it that today's life for the kids is, see, access to the technology is easy. With ChatGPT, asking a question and getting an answer is easy. But the type of thing they need to do is too much.
Yes.
As compared to what we did. So in that sense, their life is difficult.
Right.
If you look at it, our thing, I remember I was in Nagpur. On top of it, I was in Nagpur, which was not even Mumbai. So if I want to learn something new, forget about internet and all that thing was not there.
Yeah.
So what's the way out? Take a book and put the software and start learning. Book kahan se milega? You will not get it in Nagpur. So I still remember in our head offices were in Mumbai. So if some of my colleagues or someone from my other department was actually going to Mumbai, I used to request him, "Tu ja raha hai na to wo wahan pe." I still remember, I used to say Lamington Road chale ja, wahan pe kitab milegi.
Okay.
I don't know how many of you know, but there used to be books and they were in Lamington Road.
Right.
So people used to go there, wo wahan se leke aayenge. Then obviously I will have to pay fair amount of money, not only for that, but favor है तो party देना पड़ता था. There was no other way. So what I'm trying to tell you is that, Kunal, while it is true that organic growth made that easier, but that was not that easy either. There were challenges, in terms of learning something new. There was, it was always possible saying that कि नहीं है पढ़ने के लिए मैं क्या पढ़ूंगा. But people didn't do it that way.
Correct.
That was very common sort of.
So like all of a sudden 3 or 2 people was there working with you. You feel like a team leader. So initial phase of development and then post phase of leading people. So how you will differentiate that? Because anyhow, if I will start a career, like definitely people who are watching us, they will have an individual goal, right? Then they will be having a responsibility, lead these 2 or 3 people. Nowadays, what I observe, people even don't want to lead, right? So what they should learn from our experience, like this is a way you should follow to lead the people or to guide them or to scale your team. So what is your experience into that era?
In my opinion, the roles which are related to the people management type of thing, they are reducing drastically. There is no doubt about it.
Okay.
See, it's a very common scenario for ages together, Kunal, is that something which is, I always in the training, I say that whatever is the knowledge will slowly it will become the tool. And with the tool, it will then become, automation and those type of things. It's a natural transition in which it is happening.
Correct.
So, lot of those tasks which were related to the project management, for example, making the scheduling or, going ahead and making the chart or making the reports and dashboard. These things are all now taken care by the dashboard. So, slowly, with that, it has come up. But friends, remember, don't even go ahead and put that subject called as a people management to an option like we used to do it in the college days. It is not going to be an option. It will remain there forever. Till the time there are people management is going to be there and that skill will be required. PMI, I'm sure a lot of people would be, would have tried PMP or, must be pursuing. You would have realized 3-4 years back, they changed their pattern. And earlier, they were asking 100% questions on something called as the processes. Nowadays, they are asking 42% questions on the people. Because managing people is not an easy job either.
Right.
So, when we came into that particular, obviously, I had some inclination there, people management and technology. Typically, if you look at the human brain as well, they say, half hemisphere of the brain. One of them for the creative and for the logic wala that's good for technology and all that. The creative mind is required for the people management. Is everyone good at all? Probably not. Does it mean that he is not good? He is not good is not the reality. But with growth, with some growth, people management aspect, you have to do it.
So how you inclined? Like definitely team count must be increasing. Or like I would be happy to understand after 3 to 4 people leading, like what was your next journey, right? Like overall, people nowadays just want to see I am retiring. They think like definitely you are having a huge experience, so we can learn from you. Everyone talking with me is saying like after retirement I will do that. But they are in a phase, they are leading 2 or 3 people, they are leading some more people. So what can be a next cycle after this? Once you started the people leading, how was your work cycle?
That was, see what happens, the people particularly who are coming from the extremely technical thing, which they have done it. they would enter into the people management, but thoda sa, that hiccup is always there.
Okay.
See, it is almost, if I were to, because I am a trainer, I will keep on using examples here and now.
Yeah.
Now, someone who is really a good cook, he loves cooking there.
Yeah.
Just because he is a good cook, he starts thinking that if I go ahead and open a restaurant, well, I will be able to, feed so many people, so many nice ideas are there. And you would realize that running a restaurant and cooking a good food are not same. You should be good in employing the cooks.
Right.
Running restaurant is not cooking. Running restaurant is employing right cooks and doing all that thing. Same thing does happen, with the people management. My journey, then it started growing. I finally, landed into something called as Director Technology Consulting with Bristlecon with around, 200 people.
Yeah.
Not directly under me, but with so many, hierarchical things there.
Okay.
So, as usual, I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this thing would realize that other time to appraisal, this guy is saying that I want to go, तुम मेरे को chance नहीं दे रहा है, and I got only 8% appraisal. So all that started. It was somewhere, in the 2005-7. Here is an important lesson which I will tell you, friends. That when I felt that this is not going to work, I actually switched into another group company. This is yet a big advantage. I told you, saying that being in the same company is not working these days, but we get an advantage as well, because then your demands have some say there, because they say that this guy has spent so many years. So, in the group, by then I had already, spent 25 years. So, they granted me to get into something called as a Tech Mahindra, which was a larger organization. With time, as you would be
so it was earlier started, like we can say Tech Mahindra was started
long back, 1999, I think.
Right.
So it was by then established company there. They were in telecom. We were more into SAP, as I told you.
Right.
I was heading the technology thing. I came here into the delivery. In a way, an intentional way to come down a little, because I was required to reduce the speed, and that's what I was trying to tell you, friends. If you want to reduce the speed of your life, it is you who need to take. And reduction in the speed of the life doesn't come free of cost. Growth comes at a cost, but even stopping the growth comes at a cost. You need to be very clear, saying that what do you want to do.
Right.
It started allowing me to take some more time for exploring some technology, which was always, coming up like, so it's like, an aged guy trying to read, the comics.
Right.
Don't even think even aged guys enjoy reading the comics, So वैसे ही था वो कुछ. That's what I did, and it was 2008-9 when I actually moved into training.
Okay.
At that time again I was, again same. See, long association with the group. They said that even if you are, having whatever 27 years of experience, आपको training में जाना, you go into training. And from that day, in a comic way, Kunal, people used to ask me, आप बैठते कहाँ पे आपका office? Because it was a giant organization. I said, मैं बैठता ही नहीं हूँ, मैं खड़ा ही रहता हूँ, because training is, we always stand and teach. That's what I did almost for 10 years.
So you joined Tech Mahindra as a directly trainer, or
no? I joined into delivery.
Okay. So what was your role in delivery at that time? Like we can.
I was, something called as a delivery manager. Those days they used to call as a group lead.
Okay.
It was a group lead type of thing.
Correct.
So you would realize, that my title was Director Technology Consulting.
Yeah, and then
from here coming the.
Right. That is what I am
very
asking.
judicious type of thing.
Correct.
Remember, friends. Now this is little, between you and me. So listen to this very carefully. Is that as long as your salaries are not compromised, you should not worry about titles, because titles do change.
You're right.
There are startups here where you would be called as probably, whatever, vice president. But what matters is how much are you paid.
Right.
That does matter.
Correct.
So be little careful.
So your pay scale was same, just designation was.
See, it's a rule, isn't it? Because I didn't change the job. I was part of the same group.
Right.
So obviously that compromise was not there.
Right.
And anyway, see, finally, if you ask me, when I came there, they realized that it was not their mistake.
Okay.
Because they got the thing. See, the person who has spent so many days with so many things, as a trainer also, he is a premium trainer.
Right.
So that advantage they got. They were good, they were certainly good to give me this opportunity.
So I am just interested to learn these two roles. Definitely, people who are watching, they may be interested in that. What was your roles and responsibility as a director? And then how you match that with the person who is doing a work as a service delivery manager, right? So just want to have a comparison in these two roles. So that people can learn what director is doing and what, like, definitely we are aware about service delivery manager role, but many people have dreamed to do bigger level of roles. So just want to have an idea on it.
So, later when Kunal is that in the training, we keep on telling the story. So one of the very interesting story, which I used to tell, I, still teach something called as the Microsoft project.
Correct.
Excel and, project management brings to IT and all those type of things.
Yes.
So when I'm teaching typically tools type of training, this is the story. So there was a, bunch of college guys who were visiting some IT company, maybe in the electronic city in Bangalore or maybe in Pune or whatever you call it as. And they were actually going around, and when they were introduced and brought there, oh, so nice office, so many things there. So they came across the receptionist who was there. So they, what does this lady do? She picks up the phone, talks to the thing, and then, but then she has a computer laptop. What is it? She uses Excel, PowerPoint, and all that. And that's like, oh, okay, that's good. And how much she is paid? Some number is thrown. Then they enter into a room. There were so many people very busy with doing things. Who are these people? These are developers. And how much they are paid? Obviously more than the receptionist. What do? They do Java and all that thing. And they went ahead with all the thing, and finally they came, who is this? Oh, don't keep quiet. He is the CEO, very busy guy. Don't even, disturb. He said that how much he is paid. That number was obviously, enormous. And then they asked him, what does he do? They said, pick up the phone, pick PowerPoint and Excel, What I'm trying to tell you, coming back to your question, is that, when you go into that role, the director of technology, you take this for anyone. This is how it will be. Their technical component of work will reduce, people management will increase.
Yes.
Strategies is certainly, this joke is joke hai, baat chhod do. I mean, same tools receptionist uses CEO, but he does it with a strategy. So strategies do change, they were there. But it's not necessarily, friends, forever in your life you will like that role. That role necessarily means, every alternate day get up and go to Bangalore giving some presentation to the customer, then meet the people, there are escalation, people will share. And that's the whole job which is there. It's not bad. And I am sure, someone will have to go ahead and take that role. And that pain, if I were to use that.
So nowadays, definitely, sorry to ask you.
Yeah.
Nowadays, definitely there are directors, right, who need to face customers, right?
Correct.
They are responsible to get the business. So even that kind of roles and responsibility you were having.
Of course, I mean, I can't get that role unless, I do that. That was the essential part of it. It wasn't difficult for me as well. Obviously there is a limit to.
So why it was not difficult for you? Like definitely, people are techies. They don't want to go for front-facing job, right?
Correct.
So you are saying it was easy for you. So
no, that is because of a very peculiar thing which we enjoyed, is that we actually grown from, as I told you in the beginning, we have grown from all the technology from the bottom. So the moment someone comes back and says that, the optical fiber cut gaya tha, so I would be able to tell, what does it mean? You need to put that crimping. Now, those are typical things. So it was easier for us to connect with the people. But remember, these days, that's not a choice. The way, this is what is happening. People are from some B school. Those B school guys are directly getting into that role. While they could be good at making the strategies, these operational level things to connect with the people and all that thing becomes difficult. So that's where it is difficult
but
for
it's
me.
Really good. Like if somebody want to move to a higher level of experience, they should be having ground level knowledge, because I watched Ratan Tata's interview. So he started in Tata Group from the bottom. Like I think there was some organization he was working at operation level, and when he lead that, so he was understanding the challenges so that he can increase the productivity or sales. So like that, as you come from the root level, right? Initial days you work all tasks, and then you become a leader. So it was easy for you to understand what's going good, what's going bad. So you can focus on that. Right?
But ये थोड़ा ये हो जाएगा. This will not be a real, in my opinion, ईमानदार आंसर नहीं होगा ये.
अच्छा.
The reason is that what has happened is that changes are happening very fast.
Right.
So even if you have grown, the technology doesn't remain same.
Right.
So these days it is no more a choice to grow like that. It has become a normal thing that now it is all about you should be able to probably summarize what people are doing very quickly. That's what is there. If you want to think that I will do everything and grow to that thing, आजकल मुश्किल है. It's difficult. I can always, as you would be knowing, I retired around 6 years back. So, अभी बैठ के मेरे लिए कुछ भी कहना आसान है. Very easy to say that, that you should learn everything. ऐसा नहीं है. It's not practical. You would not be able to, because by the time you go ahead and master it, again I told you in the beginning, I come from that baby boomer generation, which keep on saying, सब perfect करते चलो. यार नहीं है, time नहीं है. Things have, changed drastically. It is
right.
So what does it mean? Is that, if I am able to understand what does cloud means, what does, PaaS means, what is, as means, those things, if I am able to understand, will I be able to set up a Microsoft Azure server? Probably no. Will I be able to, do something called as Amazon Web Services, Windows server? It will not. But I should be able to generalize things and use it. वो करना पड़ेगा. That's not a choice, which was there. So things have changed, very drastically.
Right. So in this, I was just keen to ask, like definitely people are nowadays happy and frustrated. So while doing this bigger role, right? After that, our training journey started. So your role was a director, your role was a service delivery manager, or even we can say developer from the mechanical background. So what was like most exciting part, or like what was most challenging part, so that we can understand the challenges and excitement, right? Definitely that should be a part of journey. Can you just give some idea where it was at a director level, it was really exciting for you, at a director level or delivery manager, it was really a hectic task for you?
Now these are very individual things. I need to think a little bit here. But in my opinion, there were two transitions which happened, and they were sort of a paradigm shift for me. So first paradigm shift was from technical to the people management. That time what happened is that I realized, see, the technical things, people who have grown into that technology, particularly who are doing programming or some sort of a I would say troubleshooting and trying to solve some problem related. It could be anything. It could be related to network. It could be some development or some product you need to configure and you are trying to do it. Those people are, those are having that Eureka wala. Eureka, I mean, you would be knowing that, I think Newton, who shouted as Eureka. And then only those guys, who actually have done the technology will realize what does that Eureka means. They don't shout as a Eureka. But वही लगता है कि you are struggling for 3 days, क्यों नहीं चल रहा, and then you realize that here I have forgotten to initialize the variable and then you feel eureka, That was there, which was very interesting there. The first shift when I actually came into the management role there was that I realized that if I can become so creative and try to make a machine work, as I want, I started playing around with the people and their brain, my own subordinates, and then I realized कि यार उसमें भी यूरेका होता है. Now you think about it. In people management, there are eureka moments. You realize this guy is a hard nut to crack, and you crack it. And once you crack a hard nut, you realize it's very sweet inside. That guy turns to be a very good performer. So that's one thing which was a shift there. Surprisingly, cycle hota hai. Cycle, it actually then is grown. I have become, I started feeling proud saying, itne sare log hai, inko manage karna. I need to meet those people. I need to make that customer happy. One particular thing actually came, and then, I realized there was some new technology. By then, obviously, the new technologies came my hand. My control and my access to the technology reduced a little bit. And फिर एक बार बैठा, and when I actually went ahead and cracked something new, I realized कि यार ये भी यूरेका है. And that was the time I think.
But
Kunal, I started switch back.
Right.
So both of the things are having their own excitements. You need to have that.
But how to
takeaway.
get that eureka? Like definitely this like a discussion is more on project management and like a complete journey and a leadership, right? So getting tasks done or like getting that person in your comfort zone to get that task completed is eureka, as you told.
Correct.
So being people who are watching us, like how they should develop that skill. Definitely, like if somebody is asking me get this work done by 10 people, right? I may be having a challenge. So what I should learn from you so that I can go back to my work and I can implement it.
I mean, there are. I mean, me telling you here on in front of camera and you watching is always easy thing. It's not that simple. In
But at
fact,
least
life
three
is
lines, like
difficult.
yeah, these are the three
Correct.
things we
See,
should.
I will tell you the difference here. Kunal, what is happening. This is where I would say that the life of the people who are from that prior generation and the newer generations. One more very funny challenge about the newer generations is that they don't get an opportunity or the time to do that. See, one of the things for which you to get that eureka, and that eureka is very valuable. I am sure everyone who is watching this video would have realized in his life there was a eureka. This eureka could be very funny. I mean, it is not necessarily you broke some technological thing or you came up and managed someone there. It could be related. For example, Kunal, if I take your own example, one customer who was just not picking up the phone, who was not, and then suddenly he gives you an order. You get a eureka moment. Saying, "Yaar, ho gaya, kuch to bhi hua." Now, I will tell you one thing here. The reason for which it was easier for our generations was that we were very passionate about, I want to do this thing, and because I did this eureka moment, I will get rewarded. Was sort of a thought process.
Right.
Nowadays, what is happening? People are having that रिवॉर्ड इन द माइंड फर्स्ट
Yeah.
वो जब तक है ना यूरेका नहीं आएगा यूरेका के लिए प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि सी इट इज ऑल अबाउट डू आई गो हेड एंड डू द परफॉर्मेंस फर्स्ट एंड देन गेट रिवॉर्डेड और आई विल कीप रिवॉर्डिंग द माइंड एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट आई विल परफॉर्म इसमें बहुत फर्क है जमीन आसमान फर्क है बेसिकली व्हेन यू हैव दैट थिंग्स इन इट कि आई वांट टू डू समथिंग विद बिकॉज दैट गाय इज इन यूएस एंड ही इज गेटिंग सो मेनी डॉलर्स मेरे को इंडिया में यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू आई मीन व्हेन यू आर डूइंग इट you need to get engrossed into that thing. So वो थोड़ा मुश्किल हुआ है. These days it is becoming, comparisons have become very common. But in my opinion, final solution is that.
Right.
You need to, start loving your job. One of the girl who, joined her first job and I had an opportunity to talk to her. I used to tell her saying that, do you think that you should be happy on the one day in the month or all 30 days in a month? Because salary comes only on one day.
You're right.
But work comes all 30 days.
30 days.
Do you want to be happy for 30 days or one day? Now, obviously, you can't be unhappy on one day and being happy. But my guarantee there is that if you are happy for 29 days, be sure 30th day will be happy.
Yeah.
It is going to be happy.
You're right.
Now, there you have to believe, some system.
Correct. So at the end, summary is like we should love our job. Then only you can get such kind of eureka. Right? If you are not happy with whatever you are doing, you will just be out.
यूरेका सीटीसी में लिख के नहीं आता है.
Yes.
सीटीसी में ये नहीं लिखा रहता कि how happy will you be. That happiness is something which you need to steal out of the job.
Right.
And remember, the moment you steal it, your boss will be happy.
Right.
कि यार ये बंदा तो काम का है.
Correct.
So ये थोड़ा long route है, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
आजकल
that
long
I
route
got.
बोलने में थोड़ा डर लगता है.
But definitely now my question is like, your journey was going well as a leader. I will say in one word. Then you transitionalize yourself as a trainer, right? So what excites you to move to this next level of role where you are mentoring the people in internal organizations? So can I get some idea about that? Like, you got opportunity to become a trainer, or like you find, I can be good into that?
See, typically it so happens. See, thoda na my way of thinking probably. I told you in the 1988, the person who can think that this machine is going to be changing obviously had some strong, traits which are actually asking him to go ahead and, look into the thing. So that was there with me always.
Okay.
I was always, thinking. So about this training type of thing, I realized that I can actually be a good contributor there. And Eureka Moments trainer के लिए तो बहुत होते हैं.
Right.
I'm sure you also would have done some of the sessions there as a part of this.
Yeah.
वो Eureka moments are there as well. It's a fun,
Right.
doing that. Another thing, थोड़ा ये होता है. I mean, थोड़ा सा this might sound little, selfish view there, but yeah, beautiful technology, beautiful methodology, teaching into the classroom without a responsibility to delivering it to the customer. थोड़ा मजा तो है.
Right.
It is a fun of, I would say very funny thing. वो पुराने जमाने में सास जैसी रहती थी, मदर इन लॉ की, अरे ऐसा कर लेना, तुमने करना तो कुछ नहीं ना, वो करेगी तो वो ही करेगी. वो थोड़ा अजीब ही था. I mean, it was a very funny thing. But what I'm trying to tell you that it's a fun to teach
definitely.
people.
It was like your call, right? But you directly become like a PMP trainer, or you started delivering some different training? Like how you get connected with PMP? That is important.
Actually,
right?
What happened? ITL 3 was very common there.
Okay.
And that's
so your first certification or training is ITL?
Was ITL 3.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And which year?
This was in 2007 or 8 when I actually joined, Tech Mahindra.
Okay.
Remember, till the time I was a director there, I had no time to go ahead and pursue any certification or learning something new, some technology. The moment I came here, it was there. And I sensed the thing saying that training department is finding challenges in getting the trainer to train this.
Right.
They were required to use internal people. There, I again used the same opportunity what I did 20 years back.
Right.
I went ahead and told them that आपको trainer चाहिए ना, मैं कर लूँगा ना. I will manage this. So, and obviously they अरे यार, I mean they were saying अच्छा बकरा मिल गया यार, चलो पकड़ो इसको.
Yeah. Correct.
But without a thing saying that it was only 1.5 years, I went ahead and joined because by then they realized कि अरे ये तो अच्छा trainer है, उठा लो इसको.
So it was like organization challenge, and you were ready to do that. And they got like good resource, we can say, as a trainer. So you moved internally into training. But it was the first ITL training you started training in. I
did ITL 3 first. I did certification.
Okay.
And then I did Prince 2 training myself.
Okay.
And then
internally
did that.
Right.
2008. In fact, this is sort of a Euroclass for all the PMP guys.
Right.
24th of October 2008.
Right.
Was when I went to Mumbai and gave that PMP thing, became PMP, and then after that this whole thing called as the PMP.
Right. So you are delivering the training of PMP, Prince 2 and ITL internally, right?
Maybe 5,000-6,000 people I have.
Right. So that was my question. Like till now, how many people you have trained? I was supposed to ask you. I was supposed to ask you the same question and you gave the answer.
That's where I lost the count in between, but it was very common sort of a thing. Every month there used to be the batches there. With time, not after COVID, it has, e-learning has become sort of a compulsion. But before that also, Tech Mahindra with merger with the Satyam has become a huge organization. Now travel and doing the on-site training in one classroom was becoming difficult. So they also introduced. Those days they used to use a tool called as WebEx. So WebEx पे हम लोग करते थे. It was very common that there were 50 people who are joining my class. So I used to get that fun. वो यूरो का वाला ही था रहता था.
Right.
कि मेरा ट्रेनिंग अनाउंस होने के बाद in 5 minutes, someone used to call कि मैं डाल रहा था but वो अप्रूव नहीं हुआ, बैच फुल हुआ, मेरे को थोड़ा अलाउ करो. So
even I heard
in
like
that sense, 5,000 is not at all a big number. That's how. And after that, Kunal, as we came in touch, after I stopped working.
Correct.
At the 2019, I stopped working.
Right.
And then, you are the one who are giving me all that opportunity.
Right. Even like, as you were saying, like people used to apply your training and that was all of a sudden getting cool. So, when I am talking with the student, even they give the same feedback. Right? I was trying to apply Sanjay sir training when he was in Tech Mahindra. But that time I didn't got opportunity. Now because of us, they are enrolling like to your training. So that kind of incident really happened with me also. Yeah. So one question is there. Definitely, as of now, our training journey is going on. So overall, you are saying like till now 6,000 plus people you have been trained, right? But when we talk exactly for the PMP training, so there are different domain people in PMP. Some people may be from IT, some from mechanical, automobile, civil, healthcare, pharma, or insurance, right? So to train them on the same platform, is it easy, or we need to go by straight away whatever the project management methodology is there, right? Definitely. Now our topic of discussion is like, if I am looking for PMP, I am joining PMP training, right? But multiple people are with me, right? So how you as a trainer run that batch? That is also definitely interested for all of the people who are joining. That time you told only 3 industries were there.
Mhm.
Nowadays, huge
Yeah,
number
so
of industries are there. There may be some person who is from data science or AI,
Mm.
right? So to train them at the same platform, need one skill only, or we need to discuss by case study by case study.
See, typically, this word project management has become very popular after, the service industry like IT came into the picture. But does it mean that projects were not there? It's not, In fact, I always give in the PMP training on almost day one or day two, I explain saying that most matured industry in terms of engineering practices, it is civil engineering.
Right.
It's most ancient industry. Now, you said that is an industry. What about project management? I said civil engineering का पूरा ही काम तो project management होता है. That's what we do.
Right.
And that's how it is there. So, now coming back to your specific query here is that what PMI has done, they have not written this book called as a PMBOK, they call it as Project Management Body of Knowledge.
Right.
It's not meant for only a, service industry. It is written in such a way that it is for all the industry.
All industry, right.
So, even to drive that point, because as I can see, you are having this query say that here, there would be some people, I am from IT industry working in quality department. This guy is civil engineer working on some township building project. Someone is, in last batch, Kunal, I remember there was someone called as a commander Samantari who was from the, army. So,
Right.
ये सब लोग लोग how can we learn something which is
Right.
now the beauty of this book is that on day one or day two I tell them say do you think arranging the marriage ceremony for your cousin brother is that a project? People think a while and बराबर project है.
Right.
So then I say okay it's a project isn't it? So I used to ask them say कि collect requirement होता है. Now what words I am using Kunal are exactly the words in PMBOK. So I say collect requirement. They think of collect requirement करना. Then manage stakeholder. They करना पड़ता है. Identify stakeholder. Risk management. I said these are the things which are applicable for that very informal ceremony to building a spaceship,
Right.
to the civil construction, to the website building. सबके लिए तो common है.
Correct.
That's what they have documented, and that's why this is applicable almost to all the industries.
Right.
Whosoever are doing into the projects.
Correct. So lot of time, definitely I got an answer like for every industry, same set of guidelines may be working as a project management, right?
Correct.
But to keep student interactive in a session, like what is your skill? Like how you keep student engaging, or there may be a real life case studies. Training should not be monotonous. It should be exciting, right?
Exactly.
People should laugh. People should have anger in the training. So how you manage that ecosystem, like while delivering the training?
Yeah, I mean, see, the first thing is that I need to use huge number of examples. For me, it is an advantage because I came from, different industry. For the example, mechanical, when I was working onto the shop floor. Then into IT, where I was doing a lot of IT management. So many, particularly examples related to the customer escalations, managed stakeholder engagement. They come from that particular part of it.
Right.
Then later into the training. So obviously this wide type of thing allows me to, take so many examples there. That's where, I get an advantage there. Now this is a very funny trick. Some of you people who are watching sooner or later maybe decide to get into the training. I will tell you this trick. Is one more thing is that don't try to say that the project manager was, once upon a time and trying to handle the people. How should he do it? Typically, if there are 15 people into the classroom and let's say one of person whose name is Vijaya. So simply that Vijaya was very unhappy and he the same story what project manager would have told it as a Vijaya did. Obviously, he gets alert and keep on changing that name. Next time say that, Rahul was creating the risk register. Now the guy called as Rahul in the classroom will suddenly get up like, भैया मेरे को क्या बोल रहा है?
So why I was asking
engagement थोड़ा बढ़ जाता है. Games are there. There are games in e-learning. There are so many experiments you need to do.
Right.
So that also has matured.
Right. So you keep on adapting yourself. Because see, earlier you were delivering a classroom training. Nowadays, to corporates or to like institute also. Definitely, online trainings are more effective, right? So, keeping students interactive in online training is really a difficult challenge to a trainer, right?
Correct.
So, what do you think? Like, how was this transition? Definitely, we talk about multiple transition. So, there is a final transition as of now to us. moving from classroom training to online training.
Online. Correct.
So what do you feel? What is the different pros and cons of that? Like we can...
See, first thing is that, thoda responsibility of the trainer increases. Because he need to keep everyone engaged. Yeah?
Right.
When I tried all that thing in the beginning, I realized that it is like, I'm sure you would be, FM radios में रेडियो जॉकीज आते हैं ना, वो रेडियो जॉकी थोड़ा जैसा जॉब है वो, which means they need to continuously talk, whether it is relevant or irrelevant comes later.
Right.
बात करना पड़ेगा. At the moment, even 10 seconds, if I spend in searching one file onto my laptop, remember these days it is all our behavior. 10 seconds में you will go to another email. You start reading the email. And you will go. So you not, should not allow that to happen. So keep them busy with that. Using their names is obviously the thing. See, interactive games were very easily possible in the classroom. So that was always a fun. Now you need to come up with something equivalent. Technology is there. Technology allows. For example, all of you would be knowing that you can create a crossword on any topic. So create a crossword and send it to the people and do that. Sometimes we use that called as a leaderboard. We create a leaderboard. For example, send some questions and then whatever is their rating, keep on coming up with the solution. This guy has scored so much. Some or the other tricks you will have to use it. But still, Kunal, I mean, if you ask me now, earlier I was reluctant to switch to this electronic. I actually was waiting कि यार ये कोविड एक बार चला जाएगा और मैं तो फिर से क्लासरूम में खड़ा हो जाऊंगा.
Right.
But nowadays, if you ask me, I will probably I will say कि नहीं ये अच्छा है. This is good.
So like
tricks, this works.
Okay.
This works well.
So like how you mentor in classroom training. So people should definitely, like we being as a trainer, what we observe to students, they want to crack their exam early, right?
Correct.
So how you drive training so that they can crack the exam earlier way? Like what is the takeaway for student? Yeah, like I am attending your training, and after that, this is your planned roadmap. You are guiding them, or what extra effort you are doing in training, so that they should be happily clear their exam. Like that.
See, one of the thing is that one of the thing which actually gives us, the satisfaction is that when you start solving the question and once you start getting good response out of it, you feel. So one of the thing which I do, particularly in PMP exam, is that I always run through so many questions every day, at least 5 or 10 questions, and आजकल life easy है Kunal. In Chat GPT, just throw that as a prompt and you get good decent questions. So you get those questions, hit them solve. That is one thing. Another thing which actually motivates a lot is that when I tell them the story about that, how did I do it in 2008, my attempt is to call at least one participant from the prior batch who has cracked the PMP.
Right.
He comes and does a 15-minute of the thing. Now that is a big motivator. People always think that यार अगर जीत ने exam किया है crack तो मैं क्यों नहीं करूँगा?
Right.
And then that is another motivation there.
Right.
So and PMP में थोड़ा challenge है पूरा, because it is not a straight simple thing. It's a long thing. After the training, another 2 months at least they need to start.
Right.
2 महीना वो पेशेंस रखना थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है. So your question in that sense is more relevant to the PMP as well.
As a PMP is challenge you told, even like when I am learning PMP, what I feel, there are different certifications for Agile, right? There are different trainings for Agile. But PMP have, I think 50% of the content is from the Agile.
Correct.
So how you train this by combined way? Like definitely project managers are coming. Our traditional project management method nowadays Agile. So teaching them at a one platform is easy or difficult? What do you feel? Or things are changing and we are just adapting that?
See, one of the thing what I have noticed here, Kunal, the IT guys actually get a little bit of advantage because this whole concept called as an Agile was originated in IT.
Right.
Now what has happened is that the people who are attending our project management training, they are at least they have heard Agile. Some of their friends are working on Agile. Few of them are themselves working on Agile or certified.
Right.
तो उनको ना थोड़ा familiar होता है. It becomes slightly difficult for me to explain it to the people from other industry to explain. Say that I have my own examples. It will be out of subject to tell about that example. But I say that almost all the industries in some or the other form are switching to. They call it as adaptive environment. They don't use the word Agile. Agile is extremely software-like word. So PMI, what they have done, they have combined it, and they say that adaptive environment, which means where You don't make a 1 year long plan and follow it. You decide what do you want to do in 1 month and do it. That's called as adaptive, basically equivalent of agile there. So in that sense, for IT guys, it becomes easier to understand agile. For others, it is, for them, they think, yaar, ye thoda ajib
But
cheez
for
hai.
others, agile is useful. That is like my question. If I am from mechanical, like I'm just increasing the question over here.
Correct.
So if I'm from a civil background, so will that agile content will be useful to me?
Correct. Now that's where I used to. This is exactly the example I give it to. I said that 40 years back, and I obviously as a trainer, our job is to convert that everything to a story. तो story था कुछ
Right.
कि Kunal was one of my friend as a
Yeah.
civil engineer. वो और मैंने साथ में कॉलेज किया. Kunal joined as a civil site thing, and I joined into IT. So I used to tell him that उन दिनों में वो पूरा प्लान बनाना था. He used to do the land excavation, then make the whole plan, then do all the basement digging and all that, then all the brickwork, and then finish, and then on the great Dashara day, the township will be launched. So I used to say that हम लोग exactly वही करते थे software में.
Right.
And nowadays I used to tell 40 years back, after 40 years I met Kunal. By now he has become a very big senior guy into the civil company. So he said कि संजय क्या कर रहे हो वैसे ही वो you develop the software, capture the required. I said नहीं ऐसा नहीं करते हम लोग 1 महीने का लेते. Now he told me said कि संजय तुम लोग बात बड़ी करते हो, हम लोग exactly वही कर रहे हैं. These days we go ahead and make one building. While making we don't make a plan for remaining. We give the possession and people come back and say कि sir ये सब 1 BHK है. If there have been 2 BHK, I would have thought of buying it. Then we make a plan for second building. Then people come back and say कि ये सब अच्छा है, but had there been a mall there, तो mall बनाओ. Did you realize the civil engineers are also switching?
Right.
Mechanical, Kunal, it was those days in the industry, there used to be something called as a studio. What is the studio? Studio is that when a car manufacturer was going to come up with a new model of the car,
Right.
it used to be a completely enclosed building. No one was allowed to enter into that. Only those R&D guys. They used to make the car. After 3 years, they used to. I still remember when I was new in Mahindra and Mahindra, we were the one who came back and said कि अभी देखो कमांडर गाड़ी आया, क्या गाड़ी है हमारा.
Right. I have seen that car in a childhood. Right.
Now look at it. अभी ऐसा होता है, अभी ऐसा नहीं होता है. If you look at it, each car manufacturer in each segment will be launching at least 2 models every year.
Yeah, correct.
Agile हुआ ना?
Right.
Are you realizing?
Yeah.
4 साल वाला प्लान नहीं रहता है. अभी 3
No.
महीने में you need to take one feature,
Right.
add that thing, infotainment upgrade. Then suddenly they will what they call it limited edition. कुछ तो भी नाम निकालेंगे, but it's all about incremental improvement.
Right.
So Agile has come up all over.
Correct.
So it is not very difficult for you to understand if you use right examples. You would realize that yes, everyone is doing. Civil engineers are doing, mechanical are doing.
Yeah.
Who is not doing that?
We'll go back to training. Like definitely, students join training for their career growth, or a lot of time people do it for a job change, right? Or it may be a mandate from organization, right? So, do you think your training was useful for them, like those people who are looking for a job change, even want to go for abroad, right? So, what is your experience? Like, what is your observation, or how you help the people in such a requirement in session?
Now, normally, I have came see one of the problem, Kunal, frankly speaking, here is that as in most of our customers are Indians,
Right.
and we are the people who are not very good at giving the feedback at the end of it. So very often, even if people like it, they will keep quiet about it. Some of the people, they have certainly came back and they said that one of the person I still remember, he said, sir, मैंने exam तो नहीं दिया, but after that when I started actually giving the interviews, I realized that the mistake I was doing. When I was getting chosen, I started using. So there was some uncertain thing, तो मैंने जाके एक standby server लगा दिया and all that. Now that whole story was becoming very easy to actually. I go ahead and said I identified the risk and make the mitigation plan. I mean, if you start using those words, it actually becomes easier. It is not all about your ability to use the words.
You're right.
It is about how do you understand that concept. Right. So they are able to use it because of that training. So many people, one thing is certainly there. These days, no one actually reads your resumes. You need to go ahead and do the PMP. put that word into your LinkedIn profile.
Mm.
Whole of the AI starts working,
Mm.
and you start getting so many people calling you. Saying,
Okay.
"Yaar, aapne PMP kiya."
Mm.
So that advantage is there. A lot of people actually have got even the break, in
Right.
terms of the thing. एक चीज सिर्फ नहीं होता है कुणाल, which I wish happens, is that within the company recognition
नहीं होता.
doesn't change. Normally, that's a very funny way in which HR guys are working these days, or whatever you call it as. Is that okay? एक अंदर वाला आदमी, if he does the certification, they are not ready to give him, maybe
Yeah,
whatever,
right.
10% of increase for the
Correct.
same qualification. They will hire someone which has that. But yes, recognition obviously happens
Right.
outside, and people get the break. I wish sooner or later people will also internally recognize it.
Right. So let's say like people are new to project management or PMP or Prince2 or whatever terminology in leading the team. So at which stage they should start? Nowadays, what we can say, let's say like I'm a fresher, I'm a mid-age person. People are even at a director. They may not be a project management level certified, right? So, but if somebody is new, at which stage he should start learning such things?
See, typically, some people are extremely, वो थोड़ा सा सर्टिफिकेशन वाला कीड़ा रहता है कुछ लोगों में.
I'm not asking about certification, learning. Like let's say like
even in terms of learning, if you look at it here, there has to be a maturity which comes there. And in my opinion, you need to play a role of an individual, contributor at least for 3 to 4 years.
Right.
In which situation you are, you are at the receiving end in terms of you are a member. And there is someone who is doing the project management. So learn from there.
Right.
And then, get into that. So in my opinion, at least 4 or 5 years of individual contributor as a role, and then, start learning all those things is easier, because naturally you will understand the thing better. All these things become slightly exception if you are coming from some very specific B school.
Okay.
There anyway, आपको पहले ही दिन you will be given the role which is called as a project. You had no other option.
Right.
You'll have to do it.
Correct.
But natural transition, if you look at it, the technology to this one, in my opinion, 4 or 5 years of individual contribution. And when I am saying individual contribution, as a member of the project,
Right.
you cannot be working in HR department for 5 years and then become it doesn't.
Correct. So good age to start any management level of skills is like at least 3 years.
35 years in my opinion, because
age,
I would
age,
say
okay.
because
And
25 year में आप join करोगे कहीं पे.
Okay. At least like if I'm
4-5
having
साल.
experience, at 3 years of experience, I should start learning
that thing.
Okay.
That would be, you'd not only appreciate. I mean, not only you will get a break out of it, but you will also appreciate what you are learning.
Because wordings also will get, as you told,
Exactly.
wordings are important, right? So from this, all of the framework, we get good amount of learning, which is important for industry, right?
वो Kunal, I mean, we people being a trainer always, कि वो 7-8 साल वाले 10 साल वाले बच्चे भगवत गीता याद करने का क्लास कर लेते हैं. तो भगवत गीता याद करने की बात नहीं है यार. You need to have gone through the problem.
Right.
If you go through the problem and then you read, you will make sense out of that book.
Correct. And that is
Otherwise, वो भगवत गीता याद हो जाती है. वो
Correct.
प्रॉब्लम वो है, तो वो 5 साल if you do it, and then if you understand project में, then you realize कि यार customer कितना tough होता है handle करने के लिए. And then how do I handle? And how does a book? Book will not go ahead and give you the solution, but it will give you the pointers. Those pointers you will understand if you have seen that, isn't it?
So overall, this journey, this is like my last question. You have seen the people in like 6,000 people. Definitely, we observe from the people, we learn good things from it. So if somebody want to be a project manager, good project manager, he's at 3 years of age, he's thinking. So what tip you would like to give? So these are the skill set you try to apply, and definitely you can be a good leader in future. So what can be that?
In my opinion, good old days are gone. There, I would not say very old. In between, there was a huge focus on specialization. It was all about specialization. So people used to take pride of being a specialized, and they were also getting rewarded for being specialist.
Right.
But time have actually changed, and nowadays it has become generalized. See, it is not about, very, in English they say that jack of all and master of none.
Right.
It's not the thing. In my opinion, it is master of one and jack of few. is what is better nowadays.
Right.
That will work because
Right.
changes are very rapid. So if you are master and sucker, I'm sure everyone who is watching this video would have actually came across some examples where the specialization has become a liability on someone else. Are you getting my point? See, specialization should become a enabler. It should become an asset for you. But sometimes I know Java, but I don't know Spring and whatever. ऐसा नहीं होगा यार, तेरा job नहीं मिलेगा तेरे को. You will lose out of it. Don't even think that I'm Java है तो development ही करके I will do. It is not possible. It's possible you might probably go ahead and do project management. Maybe you'll have to go ahead and do something called as, I don't know, chat GPT is a chat designing part करना पड़ेगा आपको. So don't allow that specialization to be a liability.
Right.
You be a little bit generalist, which technical part, don't leave the complete technical part. Sometimes people think that कि मैं dashboard बनाऊंगा, PPT बनाऊंगा, stakeholder management, dinner with the customer call, पूरा उससे नहीं चलेगा. You need to be master of at least one thing.
Right. So that is good for all, but what is good for project manager? Like as you were saying, is good for definitely everyone.
Correct.
The person who is a part of industry. But if somebody who want to be a leader only as a project manager,
Correct.
so what he should be good at? Like he should also learn technology. Would you like to say that?
At the prime level, at least that has to be there. Whichever project you are doing in that area,
Right.
People give a wrong example. People say कि लोग आपको उल्लू बनाएंगे. लोग उल्लू बनाएंगे वाली बात नहीं है. Man, don't suspect the people that they will make you fool if you don't know the technology.
Right.
But even for you to appreciate,
Right.
you need to know that technology. If you don't know that, you would be able to run the project more like वो tool जैसा हो जाएगा, तो कोई मतलब नहीं आएगा उसमें.
Correct.
So, in my opinion, you need to know a little bit of technology
Right.
on which you are managing the project. Even PMI admits it very
Yeah.
clearly. PMI says that you need to know that. They are not saying that
Correct.
completely bookish project manager
Correct.
does not make any sense.
So that's all, sir, from our side. Definitely, it was a really great session. Let's see, if we get more opportunity to connect in future, so that we can have such more value-added discussion for all of us. So it was really great to have you here, and thank you.
Sure, nice to see you, Kunal, and again gave me an opportunity to
Yes.
probably attend such a interesting, forum with camera focusing at me and all that. So
Correct.
new learning at every age.
Right.
So soon we'll see more.
Correct.
We'll meet more.
Sure.
Thanks, Kunal.
Yeah.